Holy crap, is that Sylvester Stallone? I think it is, man. Mr. Stallone, pleasure to meet you.
Hey, don't worry about it, man. I love seeing the up-and-coming talent.
That means a lot coming from you, Mr. Stallone. You got a minute? And that's Creed. 204
pages? What is this, man? Rocky of Arabia?
No, that's just the first draft. Come on.
I'll admit, I like some parts of the film, especially what you done with Rocky. But I'm sorry, Ryan. I love the way Balboa ended it all, and I think I'm good, man.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, well, you'd think.
Just roll.
Michael?
Yeah?
You remind me of my son Sage on his first day on set. Here, let me tell you something I told them. Don't worry about letting anyone down. You'll be you, and you'll be just fine. Now you ready to get knocked out?
What? Okay, why would someone in their right mind give an okay sign to a film so boring on paper? I don't give a damn about Apollo Creed's love children. You know what I do give a damn about? Apollo Creed!
The Dancing Destroyer, the King of Sting, the Count of Monte Fisto.
This movie should have been a prequel to Rocky. It should have been a movie about Apollo's backstory, how his athleticism, his boxing skill, and that silver tongue of his was able to make him king of the world. People would have flocked to the theaters to see Apollo on the big screen again. And when people say no one would be able to do Carl Weathers justice, I agree. There will never be anyone to recreate the magic that Carl was able to make. But the character of Apollo Creed has so much untapped potential that it can never be ruined by a bad performance. Take 9 as an example. Daniel Day-Lewis is far from being considered a great actor, but the character of Guido Contini is just so great that even Daniel Day-Lewis can't mess that role up. The Apollo solo film would have oozed so much charisma that anyone who watched the film would have gained a little charisma themselves. But what we're left off with is a remake of the original Rocky film, and not a good one at that. Creed. Adonis Johnson is the love child of former world heavyweight champion Apollo Creed, who died in the ring before they ever got to meet each other. Feeling his father's fighting spirit course through his body, Adonis decides to seek out Rocky, Apollo's foe turned friend, for tutelage. The film starts off with a bar fight. Ryan! So what Ryan was trying to do here was recreate the church fight in the original Rocky film. But this just looks too clean. In the original, it looks so dark and dingy. It literally looks like the whole room was lit with one light bulb. Trash was even being thrown into the ring. But in this version, it looks like a lot of effort was put into making it look like a dirty old Mexican tavern, when in reality, it looks just like a high-class bar you can find in the streets of Hollywood. And I really don't like what they do here. It's a complete stomp in the favor of Adonis, when in the original, Rocky was going blow for blow with Spider Rico for the first part of the fight. With that, we can build off something, but with this stomp by Adonis, how do you build off of that? Okay, I sort of get it. You throw in a scene where he's fighting as a child to show that he's been fighting his whole life. And the fact that he's a Creed is supposed to make him really good. Okay. But then if you also have him stomping the number 6 light heavyweight in the world, where does this leave you? Rocky was a heavyweight that you couldn't even rank as he struggled against nightclub fighters. But with this stomp, you just showed Adonis to have the skills to be at least number 5 in the light heavyweight division without a trainer. And now that he does have a trainer, he should be an unstoppable force. So when you throw in this scene of, oh, I don't know, Rocky, you think I can beat him? He should be like, yes, I can beat this guy. This scene should be in the movie in the first place. He should have just said, yes, I'll take the fight. If this is a confidence issue, then oh my God. Apollo's humongous ego, the one that led to his death, should have been a trait passed down to Adonis. It would have been something fresh to the franchise to see a man so confident that he has to be humbled rather than a man who comes from humble beginnings to later achieve greatness. And I'll admit, there were hints of this in this movie. Like when he got knocked out by Danny Stuntman Wheeler. This is a scene showing how Creed's confidence
will leave his head planted on the mat.
And Rocky 3 barely counts because he was distracted by fame, not overly confident. You know what this movie could have done better? We could have had Adonis Creed be like the self-taught boxing prodigy, making moves in the light heavyweight division. Rocky hears about this and he's all like,
"That's Apollo if I've ever seen one."
So Rocky shows up to one of his fights and he's all like,
"Hey, you really remind me of the old man."
But Adonis just brushes him off, saying, "Oh, now you're here? Why have you spoken to Marianne in the past few years?" And you build from there. That may not be a good movie, but I know it'll be better than the movie Ryan gave us because it would have been something different. Ryan even tried to cram in a relationship into the movie to recreate the chemistry between Adrian and Rocky, and it was no good. The greatness of Adrian and Rocky's relationship is about how these two were complete opposites.
She's just this soft-spoken pet store owner, while Rocky is this dim-witted debt collector who boxes on the side. Yet, Rocky is able to charm her with his dumb jokes and that heart of gold.
And in Creed, it's just standard relationship stuff.
Adonis finds out she's a really good singer and asks her out.
It's an extraordinary person finding another extraordinary person, and they just fall in love. But enough comparing this film to the original, because I admit I've been a tad bit unfair. Rocky is an all-time classic. I should be judging it as a standalone movie. A standalone film that probably has the dumbest antagonist in cinematic history. Pretty Ricky Conlon. The film even tells you how dumb this guy is.
Now you're the idiot that ran around Toxteth with a gun. Do you remember that? And you are the clown who couldn't control himself at a weigh-in and lost us millions in the process. Millions, okay?
How am I supposed to find this guy as a legitimate threat to Adonis when all of his buffoonery is good enough to be put in a Jackass film? So when he's saying all this stuff at the press conference, I just laugh at him.
Adonis, I don't know why you're getting angry at a guy you hold the intellectual edge over.
Ryan, you turned your villain into a complete joke. Why couldn't you just make Stuntman the villain? It would have been nice to see Adonis put up an actual fight and go the distance with Stuntman.
When the first time we see him, it's just an absolute stomp.
It would have been great character growth to see how far Adonis has come, but they choose pretty Ricky Conlon. And the saddest part about this film is Rocky's storyline. Now, I'm not saying it's bad. In fact, it's spectacular. I am still pissed Mark Rylance won over Sylvester Stallone when his whole performance consisted of him spouting character backstory and saying, "Would it help? Would it help?
Would it help?
Sylvester Stallone acted his heart out.
With his performance starting off with this hilarious out-of-touch old man, with that funny moment with the cloud where he looks up at it. We also have the tough, stern mentor teaching Adonis how to become a great fighter.
Then the movie reaches a whole nother level with this cancer storyline. There's this amazing moment where as soon as Rocky figures out he has cancer,
he returns to train Adonis, and the way the camera lingers on Stallone, you see Rocky in a vulnerable state, but then he quickly snaps back so as not to be seen by anyone in that state. Then Stallone delivers this beautiful monologue while on the verge of tears, saying how he's ready to die because everything he knew and ever loved left him. And my tears just continue to stream down my face as we see Rocky struggle as he battles cancer.
And it's just a damn shame.
Would it help?
Would be considered better than what Stallone did in this film. But having said all that, this amazing storyline actually brings the film down. Take Wall-E as an example.
Everyone knows that the film was at its best when Wall-E was on the spaceship, but you had to get through an hour and a half or so of a string of random activities happening on planet Earth to get to the good part of the film.
Creed fails in the same way Wall-E does. There's one part of the film that's just so amazing that it overshadows the rest of the movie. But honestly, it's not too hard to complete that task when you've got Adonis Creed, who lacks all the suave and confidence that his father had, a romance that's just... and no villain whatsoever. Ryan, in this video, I pitched you a movie that we all want to see, the Apollo solo film. And if you can't make it happen, then please, somebody hear me out and make that film, because it definitely has classic written all over it. Come on, is this really necessary?
It's tradition, Michael. Carl, Mr. T, Dolph, Tommy, rest his soul. They all, oh my god!
That was about 30%. Hey, I don't think I was filming that.
Huh?
Nah, I'm just kidding.
Living in America.